Hello there, people of the internet. So, last Saturday, I went to the Denver Regional, and I got 30th out of the top 32. I've been meaning to look for a reason to come back to YouTubing for quite a while now. I just haven't had anything particularly interesting to say until now, because I did not top with Sky Striker, I didn't top with Orcust, I didn't top with any of the meta. I topped with ABC. So for the main deck, I have 2 A's, 3 B's, and 2 C's. So I see a lot of people running 3 of each. I find that to be really bricky. So I knocked the ratio of the A's and the C's down to 2. So that we can keep our plays a little bit more consistent. And 3 B's because B is the searcher. Next I have 2 gold gadgets. And 2 silver gadgets. I see a lot of people running anywhere between 3 to 1 of each. I feel like 2 of each is a really good ratio for seeing link plays, especially for platinum gadgets, and for XE's plays, which I will go over later. And plus, if they are destroyed by battle or card effects, they can summon each other from deck. 3 Ash Blossoms. Pretty self-explanatory. Stop deck searches, and stop deck summons, and stop your opponent from sending anything from deck to grave. 2 Nibiru's. Just a quick way to get rid of a lot of your opponent's monsters if they summon too many times. It came up once during Orcust in tournament. Honestly though, I might actually swap this over to the side deck because I feel like it's really bricky. And I'd rather have the consistency. 3 Unit Hanger. Pretty standard, searches out a part from deck, and attaches a part from deck. 1 Terraforming. 1 Set Rotation. And 1 Pseudospace. Terraforming is obvious for searching out the Unit Hanger or searching up Pseudospace. Set Rotation, it's for searching out the Unit Hanger or Pseudospace when we don't see Terraforming. And it sets a field spell to the opponent's side as well. And Pseudospace is for copying the Unit Hanger. So what I really like about Pseudospace is it copies the effect of Unit Hanger, and until the end of the turn, by the way. It copies it until the end of the turn, and if you already used it during that turn, and you summon another piece, you can equip another part from deck. Probably B. So that when you go into Dragon Buster, B will go to the graveyard, and you get another search for that turn. So that's what I really think is cool about that card. 3 Engage. 1 Hornet Drone. And 1 Widowmaker. Engage searches out the Hornet Drones or the Widowmaker. Drones gets out Kagari or Hayate, and Widowmaker is a negate and a mind control. So I really like this engine a lot in the deck, and the Kagari and the Hayate gets you into Platinum Gadget a lot easier. 3 Call Up of the Grave. Stops graveyard effects and stops hand traps like Ash. I used it a couple times against Orcust, stopped our Harp Horror before it could use its effect. 2 Twin Twisters. So some people would argue for Cosmic Cyclone, so that we can banish things like Multi-Roll and Sanctuary. That's a valid argument, and honestly, I don't like running Twin Twisters. I hate this card in this deck. But, with that said, I think in the current meta, it's a lot more valuable to destroy 2 things instead of banishing one card. So that's why I prefer Twin Twisters instead of Comet Cyclone for now. 3 Impermanence. You can activate it from hand if you have no cards on the board to negate a monster effect, and if it was set before you activated it, it negates the column for spells and traps for the entire turn. That's really good. That's really powerful. Especially against things like multi-roll. If you set it in the same column as a multi-roll loses all of its trackers. It loses count, basically. And it actually came up in a play, which I'll discuss later on. Solemn Brigade. 2 strikes, 2 judgment, and a warning. In the striker matchup, they actually summoned my Buster to their side of the board. And when they used the effect of Buster, I had the strike face down. So I negated the effect, saved my cards. And the judgment came up a couple times during an Orcust matchup. I never saw a warning. And last card, making it a 41 card deck, Union Scramble. I still think it's a really solid card. Flip it up to summon 3 parts from Banish. And if it's in the graveyard, aside from the turn it was sent there, you can add a card back from Banish by banishing Union Scramble as cost. So that play that I mentioned with Impermanence. So I was against a Shaddoll player. They had a Falco set and a Winda on board. I summon a Dragon Buster. I use my Dragon Buster to banish the face down Falco. And then I use the Impermanence to negate the Winda. I flip up Union Scramble to summon all my parts back. And then I link them all for Burl Sword. And then resummon Dragon Buster, banish the Winda, and attack for game. Now to the extra deck. 3 Dragon Buster. Discard to banish a card my opponent controls. And on my opponent's turn, tribute it to summon my 3 pieces back for Link plays and Xyz plays. The only unfortunate part is it can be called by the grave when you're trying to bring your pieces back, but that is why we have Union Scramble. Time C for Doer. It's a really solid addition to the deck. Attach the top card of your opponent's deck to it during the standby phase, and depending on what's attached to it, it gets an effect. So if it's a monster, it detaches to banish itself for the turn, and if it's a spell, you can detach to draw a card. And my personal favorite, granted it doesn't come up that often, but my personal favorite is you can detach a trap card, and it's a non-targeting compulse to the top of the deck. So that can get rid of really problem cards like Avermax or Burl Load. Anything that your Dragon Buster cannot deal with. It's just a really good addition to the deck. Basically, it's more consistency and more control. Number 41, Baguska. I made him 1 time in tournament. I never used its attack position effect, so I'm not going to go over that. What I use it for is to stall out with its defense effect. And the defense effect is negate anything that is activated in defense, and switch all monsters to defense. Abyss Dweller. Negate your opponent's effects in the graveyard until the end of the turn. Really good against Orcust, and decently good against Salad and Thunder Dragons. Unfortunately, I never saw it in tournament. Tornado Dragon. I made it 1 time in tournament. It's more back row removal for when I need it. Sky Striker Kagari and Hayate. Kagari to add back the engage from grave and search out Widow Anchor. And Hayate to attack directly and to send a spell from deck to grave. And I can link off into Kagari and add that spell into my hand. I don't remember which duel it was, but There is a duel where my opponent only had 300 life points left, and I had a set Hornet drones. I flipped that up, and I went into Hayate and I attacked for game. So that was cute. Platinum Gadget. It summons a level 4 or lower machine type from your hand, and when it's destroyed, it summons a gadget from deck. The only down part is that you can't link summon with it the turn it was summoned. Cleafort Genius. I made it one time in tournament. If it is link summoned, it is unaffected by spells and traps and the effects of other link monsters. That's really good. Underclock Taker. I never made it in tournament. Target your monster and a monster your opponent controls, and the opponent's monster loses the attack of the monster you control. Burrowload Dragon. I made it once in tournament. Decreases a monster by 500 and steal whatever Burrowload is attacking. So still really good in this meta. Burl Sword. This is how I am OTKing half of the time. Cannot be destroyed by battle, and it gains attack while attacking, and it can attack twice by switching a card to defense. And that last effect cannot be responded to. So all around, really good. Last in the extra deck, Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avermax. I never made it in tournament. It cannot be targeted, it gains attack, and when it's sent to the graveyard by opponent's card, it shuffles a card back to the deck. So really solid addition to the deck. And now for the side deck. One Nibiru, just in case, but like I said earlier, I might be putting it in the side deck, and I might also just be reducing it down to 2. 3 Evenly Matched. Banish cards face down until it equals to the amount that you control, and if you control no cards, you can activate it from a hand. 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance and 1 Imperial Order. This is for the Striker and Pendulum matchup. I saw it one time during tournament against a Striker player. Unfortunately though, they were able to out both the Anti-Spell and the Imperial Order. And the last, Super Poly. Just really useful for getting rid of problem cards in decks like Orcust and Thunder Dragon and Salad. And my targets are Mud Dragon of the Swamp, Predaplant Dragostapelia, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, and Salamangreat Violet Chimera. I never made any of these. Starving Venom for the Orcust matchup, Salamangreat obviously for the Salad matchup. I have Dragostapelia for the Thunder Dragon matchup, which I could also use Starving Venom Fusion Dragon for. I usually side both of these in for the Thunder Dragon matchup, but I just never saw it. And Mud Dragon is for seeing cards that have the same attribute but different types. And what's convenient about Mud Dragon, it is level 4. So I can go into Xyz plays. It is nothing but pure advantage for the deck. Thank you all for watching. I will have a follow-up video in the near future showcasing the deck and the plays for the deck. And we're going to go through the dueling nexus for this. Make sure you check out Rogue Theory and Team Scrub Out, 2 good friends of mine. I am going to be doing a deck profile with them as well, so look out for that. My name is Brent. Peace.